America, this is Mark A back in effect. Mark A stay in effect. Mark A will always be in effect.
Life is a bus, so the service a must. They make you turn up your phone before you get off the bus and make you wanna go home, dog. There's nowhere to run, so you must sleep through day 0 to get to day 1. And 9 weeks later, the basic shit done.
I want to have a conversation on what are you doing now? What are you doing now?
What am I doing now?
What are you doing now?
I'm doing everything. I'm keeping my tempo in life very high. Because that's what it requires to be summer, right? That soldier mentality. I'm still trying to treat everybody with dignity and respect, and I still love people. And so now I've transitioned from my uniform to my community, because I don't believe true leaders never stop; they just evolve. They evolve, right? And so I feel like I'm in a point in life where, in a lot of things, but specifically to what's going on here, I'm evolving. And so I elected to run for mayor in my city for Cibolo. Early voting, 24 October to 4 November. And then finally, 8 November is the day that you go out and do what you need to do for me. And I did that because my city in 2000-ish, there was 2002, I'll say, about 5,000 people here, right, in Cibolo. Well, since then, we've grown in 2020 to a population of 35,000 people.
Wow.
Right?
That's a huge increase.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Cibolo was a city that was dying. It was literally dying. I mean, and then it became an area where people kind of started coming in, like military people started coming in. So this town is full of veterans.
Okay.
Full of veterans. Full of diversity now, right? There was you couldn't drive to Cibolo back then if you look like me, you couldn't, right? 2006, I was here in San Antonio area, and I didn't go to Cibolo.
For those of you, I don't mean to interrupt. For those of you that don't know, the home of the Medical Corps is San Antonio at Fort Sam Houston.
Absolutely.
So,
and that is medicine wide. So the Army did it so well. They did it so well. Now everybody trains with us.
Not even exaggerating to the least.
Very true. Everybody's here. So, and we have 5 installations in our city, in the city of San Antonio and surrounding areas. 5 installations.
Oh wow! I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I know.
So, yeah. So, I mean, it's huge. It's huge. So this has become a place where people come to retire. And Cibolo is the city of choice. That's our
beautiful. It's a beautiful city.
I like that.
Beautiful city too.
I like that.
But
you using that for your campaign song?
No, it's old. They used it before.
Okay.
No, I changed it up. I did our city, our future, our vote. It's our time. You know what I mean? Every voice needs to be heard here, to include the veteran voice.
That's right.
Yeah, we are a huge veteran community, you guys. I don't know any community in, any development in Cibolo that doesn't have over half of them are veterans.
Wow.
Is where we come to retire, because it's beautiful and we have a really small town feel, and great education, academics. Our education system here is amazing. So we come here to retire.
Now it's close enough to San Antonio where you don't have to go out of your way.
Yeah, you got the San Antonio Spurs right there. You know what I mean? That's what I said when I went. I want to have a basketball team in my area. So Summer, so now you're going to become a mayor. You're going to become a mayor, because I'm speaking it into existence. That's what I'm doing. Because this is what's going to happen. It's going to be Mayor Summer Brown, Mayor Summertime Brown. What are the certain things that you would like to see? What is your vision for your city when you were the mayor?
Well, considering we're growing pretty fast. A couple of things that I would make a priority. because I do believe when you place people in leadership positions, you need to let them lead. And we need to do this together. It's a collaborative effort, more of a collaborative. The message needs to go out. People need to know what's going on in the city. We need to figure out infrastructure, because a growing city, we got to worry about the infrastructure. We have to worry about healthcare. Well, let's just say the people services, like fire department, police, healthcare, and things like that. We have to. When I used to leave from here to go to Fort Sam every day, you guys, I would sit in traffic for an hour. It was rough. It was rough. So I would have to leave an hour early, and that traffic is still completely backed up. But the current council, they've done a really good job of expanding the roads and doing that type of stuff. But as fast as we're growing, we need to do better. We need to do better, right?
Yes.
And so, first thing I would do, just like the Army, and by the way, y'all, all that leadership stuff that the Army has taught us is invaluable out here. These people need it. These people need it. The civilian sector needs what we learned. What we used to call the MDMP process and all that other stuff, your COAs and things like that.
Decision-making process.
They need that out here. They lack that leadership big time, right? So, and all the other things like integrity, anyway. There's a few things I've learned, some lessons. Okay, I've worked with some really high profile companies that need some.
It's no disrespect to the civilian sector. It's just different.
Yeah,
it's not comparable. We're trained to be prepared for these situations and be prepared to take on certain avenues of approach where you're taught in school, in college, university, whatever you want to call it. You're not taught how to react.
Well, I was just about to say that. You said you pretty much hit the nail on the head, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's something that you're taught, but it's something that you're thrown into. In the military,
that's the difference between educated and trained.
There you go.
Well, I think that we're in the military, we're taught worst case scenario, and to think 2 and 3 steps ahead, so that we can prepare for it, but also expect for it to go that way. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. So
accept the what ifs.
Yep.
So and it's called mediating risk.
That's all part of your risk assessment process.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, you took the words right out of my mouth right there.
MDMP, mediating risk. There's risk, but we mediate it. So, like me, I'm speaking on my behalf. When a person like in the military or when I was in the Army, as a first soldier come with an issue, right? Yep. I'm listening to the problem. I'm listening to the situation or whatever, right? But at the same time, I'm processing it. Boom, 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 boom. 8-step training module, the 8-step decision-making procedures. Identify the problem. Gather facts, information. It's a rotational thing. It comes a habit, right? And like now, I do that now. Like when my wife comes at me, or when that comes at me, but we talk about something. I'm sitting there listening to her, and I'm at the same time, what I'm thinking about is risk, and I'm trying to do the check marks in my mind of the risk, and okay, we could overcome this, we could overcome that, we could overcome that, right? Mm-hmm. I understand. In the civilian sector, it's not like that. It's like, okay, well, you know what? I'll pay somebody to do that. But what if you don't have enough money to do that? You know what I mean? Like,
what if the resources don't allow you to do that?
That's it.
Or if we don't make numbers, you're fired. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I've seen that.
So so those are the things that we think about. That it's not. That's not education. That's doing. That's training. That's constant doing it over and 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 over again. So that's one thing. So when I say, you going to become a mayor, right? Mm-hmm. When somebody approaches you, or a community or small community or whatever approaches you, I know that's knocked in your head. Risk assessment, mediating this risk, alternative avenues to alternative approaches to get the job done and get the job done right and hold people accountable.
Immediately, when somebody brings up an issue or something like that, I think because I've been at a level where I was supposed to think a little more strategically, I think of what resource can I tap into, or who can I tap into to solve this equation or this issue, right?
Yeah.
And which one of the things, and that was a question that I had on that interview that I talked to you guys about earlier, what is the first thing that you'll fix? First of all, a leader that is coming into anything needs to first observe.
Woo!
Need to observe.
Can't
because
assess
you
something
have
you
no
don't see.
idea. Yeah, you have no idea what's going on or what's already been done, right? Or what's in the works. So you must come to observe first. And then after you've observed, I think we did a 30, 60-day observation. And then you come in with your questions. And then you come in with, okay, well, have we thought about this or thought about that? Because there may be, in communicating that to your other leaders that are sitting at the table as well. That's something they don't do. And
this is something we've all been trained on with the 30, 60, 90.
Right.
This is why we do this. So in 60 days, now we got 30 days to implement the plan.
And not, and not even that though, we're not getting paid no extra. We're not getting paid extra. We're not getting paid extra. So this is I'm saying this to the city of Cibolo, okay? This is what you're gonna be getting. You know what I mean? This is gonna be your mayor. This is what you're gonna be getting. A person that have experienced life-threatening decision-making, okay? Going into your city, okay? And when you come with her or you come at her with an issue, I'm gonna tell you right now, I know this woman for over 13 years or 14 years, right? She's gonna give you an answer. And it ain't gonna be no BS answer. It's gonna be the real answer. Because she's going to research. She's not going to sleep until it gets done correctly. So this is what I'm going, because that's how we are trained to do. We do not accept defeat. We don't do it.
Well, think about what she did as an officer.
There you go.
Hospital management.
Yeah.
And the care is for the patient. And if you think of it in that analogy to what she's doing now within the political realm, the people are not that they're patients, but they're hurting.
Right.
And it's not just in Cibolo, it's all over America, but you have to start somewhere. And I applaud you for that, because you got to start somewhere. And I expect you, just like you said over the phone, not that I expect you, but it would not surprise me in 5, 7, 8 years. We have a senator on the screen right now.
I appreciate that. That's the goal.
You don't understand how proud I am. You don't understand how proud I am. You don't understand how proud I am.
I really appreciate that. Thank you guys. I appreciate that.
And the thing about it is that city of Cibolo don't understand what they have. Because they don't understand what they have. They don't understand. Once you get into office, they gonna understand, because things gonna get done and things gonna get done properly.
Accountability and execution. Let's get it.
Hey, what Biggie say? If you don't know, now you know.
Now you know. Now, Summer, what, okay, as say for instance, if you was 17, 18 years old right now, okay, what would be your, because I know you have children, both your girls are in college. One graduated. They're both playing collegiate sports, right? Division I sports, and which is a precedence of you, okay? And what kind of, when you sit down and speak to them, what kind of advice did you talk to them about? You know what I mean?
Because then you have the mom.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys have teenagers or adult children, but you don't know nothing. You still don't know nothing. You don't know nothing. But one thing that I pride myself in is my children are amazing. They're amazing. And it's a direct reflection of how they were raised. I always thought that my ex was a butthole, but I needed a butthole, you know, because he instilled discipline in them. And because he was a butthole, and, you know, I was mom, I was the loving one. I played my part, right? And I'm still that same loving mom. They have a really good balance, and they're responsible adults. You know, thank God they're not out there doing all kinds of stuff. They're all in school. They're driven. All of them will have white coats, meaning they'll all be doctors of some sort. I have a PA, one that wants to be a neurologist. Well, now she's looking into peds, and then a dentist. And then the 13-year-old, he says he wants to be a doctor. We're going to keep pushing. But because they had a good balance, and we never let them quit. We never really let them make their own decisions. Like, I don't care what you want to do. This is what you're going to do. And then you're going to go down this road until you tell me that you want to do something different and you've done your research and blah, blah, blah. Because by the time you figure out what you think you want to be, you'll already be something. And if you want to change, you know, gears or the trajectory of your life at that point, then you do that. But at least you have something to fall back on, right? And it's worked. It's worked. Okay.
Now I brought that up for a reason. I brought that up for a reason. I brought that topic, that conversation for that question for a reason. Okay, because Major retired Summer Brown. Okay, I told you I met her when she was pregnant as a commander of a unit. Okay, how many children do you have, Summer?
I have four. I have four that I gave birth to, but there's one that I claim that I really love him very dearly. So four that I claim, and I mean that I gave birth to, of course, and I had them all while I was in the military.
Yep. 4 children in the military.
All of them.
Okay, for 23 years. I know your oldest played Division I basketball. He more likely will probably be going overseas. You got two girls that's in college right now playing collegiate sports, and you know, and I know that they're doing amazing in grades. And then you have, I think the only one left is
13.
The 13-year-old. That's the one that was in your belly when I knew you, right?
Oh my God. Yep.
You know what I mean? That's serious, right? So
he was running just out there in that snow.
Actually, a year, because you didn't have the baby you was pregnant. I think you had the baby like maybe a couple of months later.
I had him in 2008, yeah.
Yeah. You know, so 4 kids, military, high up tempo unit, being a commander, going to these tough assignments. You know what I mean? And you right where you at today and what you're about to do. That's amazing. So the question is, like, what advice can you give a young American, a young female, a young girl, the process of determination and resiliency? Like, what is your method?
Two things. If you're a service member, you're female, right? Married or single parent, get you a village. Military affords you the opportunity to have people in your life that do not have your blood that you can still call family, and they will love you like family, and sometimes better, right?
Oh my God,
they will love you better than family, right? I know I have some sisters in the military that, boy, I'm telling, I would trade. I got 9 sisters. I'd trade a couple of them out for these women, right? Yeah. You need a village. Nobody can do it alone. I don't care if you're married. Nobody can do it alone. A smart woman has a village. Okay. That's the number one thing. Number two, you can do whatever you want to do. Whatever your mind tells you can do it. You have to figure out a way to get it done. And just because you are pregnant, like, you know, or you single mom, and no, it's nobody's responsibility but yours. And when you choose to give birth to that child, whatever, you have to be able to do it on your own. Not saying you should, right? You get your freaking team, whether it's your mom, your auntie, your grandpa, your cousin, whatever, and you get them and you take care of your children and do whatever you need to do that, right? If you so choose to have children, right? Because nothing against like my children's father, but in my mind, I always plan, if I'm going to have kids, I need to be able to make sure that I can do it by myself.
Yes.
Because he could walk away at any time, right? Those kids are mine. My responsibility.
Not only that, but tomorrow's never promised.
There you go. And he was a soldier too. What if he died?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, I was about to throw that in there. I was about to. Not only that, that was the second. That was the other part.
Right. So I had to do it by myself.
Yep. Dual
It is
service
my
members.
job. It's my job, right?
Yeah.
And I make sure that I have my village around me. That village is still here today, y'all. I still have my village.
There you go.
They have their own kids and stuff, and we still talk. We don't talk every day, but when I talk to them, it's just like I was talking to them yesterday. Yep. One girl I want to mention, her name is I called her Coco, Staff Sergeant Tawana Young. She and specialist Camatrus, Sergeant Camatrus Porter was another one. Two people that I could count on no matter what. Angela Brooks. These people, you guys, they are the reason in my family why I became who I am. My village. And I depended on my village. My village depended on me, and I didn't make no excuses. I did what I had to do. That's the other thing, ladies. Don't make no freaking excuses. If you want something to happen, you make it happen.
Word.
Period.
Yep.
Make it happen. Don't make excuses. Make it happen. So that's what I would tell them. And I have actually, I have a company that has a nonprofit piece to it called Dreams Out Loud, right? Dreams Out Loud is just it's a simple mentorship type program, right? So I have medical professionals that talk to young girls, right, that want to go into the medical profession and give them realistic expectations and real stories on how they became who they are. Every last one of my girlfriends that talk to these youth, don't make excuses.
That's what's up.
There's no harm in getting the hell back on the horse and riding.
That's right.
Try.
Just try. Just try.
Still rhyme.
Failure's a part of progress, right?
Not one successful person. I don't care if they got $1,000 in the account and they got $1 billion in the account. They failed in their life. They failed more times than they succeeded.
Yep. You know, and this is something that I want to portray as well. Summer, in your basic training class, how many people was in your basic training class in AIT? Just say AIT. How many people was in your AIT class? About.
Oh man, I don't know. Maybe 50. Maybe 50.
50. Okay. You kept how many people that you kept in touch with within that 50?
Like 4.
5. Okay. You kept in touch with 4 or 5. How many of those 4 or 5 retired after 20 years?
Just me.
I rest my case.
Just me. Yeah.
Out of the 50 people that retired, out of 50 people that went to the AIT class, how many of them retired? How many of them got out? How many of them, God forbid, God rest his soul, if he's gone. You know what I mean? So this is a blessing for us. And I'm reverting back to the 22. The 22.
Yo, and Mark, I never thought of that.
Yeah. The thing about it, the 22 people that that we commit suicide, smaller now, thank God. One isn't too much, right? We talked about that, right?
Right.
If you put that in their mind, like, yo, bro, yo, listen, my sister, mama, you have completed. This is just a change. This is just a transition for you. You know what I mean? You can do this. If you did this, if you did 20 or more years of doing what you was doing, this is not too much. This is not too hard. You can overcome this.
Right.
You can overcome this. Because you overcame the other stuff. You can overcome this. And if you put that in their mindset, in their head, I'm praying and hoping that it'll be smaller, if not none. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you said it earlier today. The civilian world needs us in a certain sense because we have that type of structure. We have that type of resiliency. We have that type of self-motivation. You know, we don't quit. We don't stop until it gets done and gets done right. You know what I mean? So if you completed 23 years, you know what I mean? And you have 50 people in your class, you kept in touch with 5, and you're the only one that actually retired? Dude, come on. That's a volume.
That's crazy. I've never thought about that statistic, guys.
That's heavy.
Yeah. I've never thought about that. I was the only one that did a whole lot. The only one, and surprisingly, the only one, you know, the fact that I stayed in because I was always talking about how I was going to get out.
I remember.
So I'm last year, I'm getting out. Like this, I'm back, you know?
Well, but there's one thing. You had how many kids? 4 that you gave birth to. Yes. That in itself already shows the commitment level within you.
Yeah.
To have 4 kids and then 20 plus 23 years.
And 5 months.
Oh. And 5 months. Give my 5 months. Give my 5 months. Shoot. And that, you know, that's a little
it shows a level
too,
of commitment that is unmatched on normal circumstances in America.
Yeah.
It's unmatched.
Yeah.
You know what? And to be completely honest, I really battled with it at the end of my career. I really battled with this getting out, staying in. I had one that was a junior in high school. You know, she's one of a good basketball player here, and she had schools looking at her, and I was like, oh, how do I deal with this? Right. I had to make a decision for once for them. I did not choose the Army that time. I chose my family. Normally, if y'all think about it, choose the freaking Army.
Yeah.
We take the point.
Well, that's how it is. That's a lot of things. That's a lot of things with the military when you're talking about dependents and kids and spouses. I almost said wives, but spouses in general. As a soldier, we are always, while we're always going to choose the Army first because it's what puts food on the table for one. Second, it puts something in our hearts, it puts something in our minds, it puts something in our gut. And I'm not going to go over the 7 chakras on this, but it puts something. You cannot touch that with anything in college, in any kind of civilian work, civilian job, in any kind of experience outside of the military. You cannot. I'm not going to say it's better. It's just different.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
I can see some advantages in the civilian world that, I wish I would have done that. But forget about the shoulda, woulda, coulda, because it's done already. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I ain't part of that shoulda, woulda, coulda crew. As D Webb says on Bearded Beast movement.
Yep, that's right, man. D Webb, my man. You know, it's ironic, man. You know, and that's the thing. Like I say this new thing. I say, every day's a Saturday. Every day's a Saturday. Every day's a Saturday, right? Every day's a Saturday. Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it. I'm like right now, But the thing about it is the fact that it's like every day's a Saturday, but you can sit down and think and reflect, and like coming up with a question of that. Like, how many people in my basic training class that they're actually retired? How many people, within that time frame that actually, stayed in, and or how many people in that class God forbid, passed on, or got out, or just all of the above. And I thought about those things. And I was like, damn, man, like shit, like, you know what? I'm blessed. You know what I mean? But I'm blessed, so why can't I bless somebody else?
God, you gonna have me thinking now. I'm gonna be all
Summer, what are some of the questions, the hardest questions that basically kind of perturb you, frustrate you on like specific questions? This is a specific question that kind of like, that kind of gives you frustration. There you go.
So let me just say this. I posted on one of my neighborhood apps, that my flyer that I was running for mayor. And one of the things that this lady had the audacity to sit, and she wrote like a dissertation to me, right? And the gist of her question was, so what makes you qualified? And she said some other things. And my response to her was simple. The simple fact that you have the freedom and the ability to ask me that question is what makes me qualified. In fact, I'm overqualified, right? And of course, I went into like my accolades, my credentials or whatever, at what makes me qualified to lead. I just wanted to ask her so bad, what in the heck makes you, able to answer that, to ask that question? You're a woman. Let's talk about where women have come from in these United States. A lot of people have had to die, sacrifice self and all that just for her to even be able to ask that question. And I want to ask her so bad. Did you ask the guy prior to me what made him qualified? I mean, so I'm just super offended by that question. The fact that I'm an officer in the United States military and I've served 23 years, baby, I'm overqualified for my community. This is volunteer service. Okay. And not only that, I possess something that the leaders that have come before me didn't have: personal courage. We can stay there for me. Personal courage, integrity, selfless service. Do I need to go down the list of Army values?
No.
I was just super offended, and I had to remember what I was dealing with. The type of person that I'm dealing with that would ask me that question after reading my
it's
background.
Ignorance. It's bred off of ignorance.
Yeah.
Ignorance.
Yep.
But and I stopped getting offended, and I said, everybody is not going to understand. Everybody can't understand us. They don't understand our world. Some of the things that I have seen that I cannot unsee, they'll never see that.
But the thing about it is this too, is right. It's like you said it correctly, right? Because I will tell you experience, which is a fact to me. I've seen military medical personnel do surgery and IDFs coming in on their fucking fob left and right, and they still conducting the surgery. Why? Because they have to rely. They have to rely on the men and women that are out there hitting goddamn, pulling that dang on trigger, okay? Pulling that trigger, okay, on burst, okay, to protect them, because why? They have to protect the person that's on that table to survive, right?
As a medical operations officer, in 5 MES back in 2010 and 11, my job was to ensure that I did everything that I could do to save that warfighter. That was my job.
And that's the thing that, and this is another testimony, a testament of adaptability. Okay, and okay, and I'm again another testimony, and I'm sorry, I just gotta say it, you know what I mean? Because Jung, wherever you at, Jung, I love you and I thank you. I got injured in Afghanistan 2013. I got medevaced out of Afghanistan. Okay, and it was a medic, 23 years old.
Wow.
That basically got me out of there. So when you say that word overqualified, you know what I mean? Overqualified, that medic, 23 years old, don't have a degree, but have the training and experience. They got you there.
TV timeout, flag on a play, and it's not on y'all. Anything, Mark, what you said, and it's not what you said. It's just that caveat on, and I'm not going to say caveat. It's more to elaborate for understanding. 68 whiskey, a combat medic.
Mm-hmm.
They have to register, and I did not know this before being in a hospital center. They have to register through the EMT course, I'm sorry, to the National EMT Registry. Mm-hmm. They have to take the same test the fucking EMTs in the civilian sector are.
Which is one of the most stressful jobs in the United States today. EMT.
Not only that, but do that while at the same time being shot at. Yep. Now, do EMTs in this country in certain areas? Absolutely, they have to worry about that. It's in the back of their heads, depending on the location of where they're at. You know, you have no choice but to have that. I'm talking Chicago, LA, Detroit, New York. I'm not going to name every city where there's stuff going on. And it's not even that. I'll go Shreveport, Louisiana. Yeah. People don't even want to look at. That's not inner city.
Right.
It's not.
I mean, yeah.
There are certain things that people in the civilian sector don't understand about what we not go through, but what the training entails, what we have to endure after training to actually perform our fucking jobs. It's totally different. Right. This is not going to air.
Check this out.
What I'm saying, it's not going to air.
Check this out. No, it should air. It should air. You know why it should air? Right. And I'm going to say it. You know why it should air? Because this is the thing. People need to know that.
They do.
People need to know what
they do.
We service members in the last 20 years, I'm going to say, okay, had to go through to sit at the table that they could bring forth to enhance your organization.
Yep.
Okay. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it back on what Summer got going on. Right? 23 years of active duty service.
In the medical field.
Not all of it, but
last of it was in the medical field. Yeah, about 10, 12 years in the medical field.
The vast majority of it was in the medical field, but that's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. What I'm saying is, if you look at what people actually come out to vote for, which is in the presidential election, when was the last president we had that was in the military? I might be wrong, but the last person I can think of was Eisenhower. That was a long time ago. When do we go off of having military leadership in the government politics? Maybe that's the problem, because it was a different time back then.
Brother, you talk about it.
Because this is a different time now. Maybe we need to get back and bring the military back into the government to shake some shit up. It is not just a Summer Brown. Hawaii had Tulsi Gabbard running for president. Nobody wanted to fuck with her. Nobody. She was making more sense than anybody on the panel. Right. Republican or Democrat. Why? Because she was on a Democratic ticket, but she had some conservative views. What's wrong with looking at it from all angles?
Nothing at all.
That tells you you're willing to work things out and have a conversation. Because you must have to have a disagreement afterwards. You have to have a conversation afterwards to come to a conclusion for a solution.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, without a solution, what the hell are we left with?
I agree with what you're saying, and that is the power of being a military leader. We can definitely see on both sides of the aisle because we are diverse. We're brought up in diversity, and our our organization is the most diverse organization on the planet. Not only the best, not only the most diverse, but the best, the longest standing organization, the most successful organization on the planet. Military leaders are needed. Needed. Because we know how to compromise, but we also know how to make a decision. I hear what you're saying, but this is what makes sense, and this is why. That is why we need military leaders to take these positions. Take your seat. We need to be making decisions on the Armed Forces Committee. Why do we need to be making decisions on the Armed Forces Committee? Because we lived this life. We know that it's crazy to be deployed for 19 months. Do you think a freaking service member made that decision? No, some civilian made that decision. And as a result of that, we had some civilian probably made that decision. As a result of that, we had planes leaving combat and turning around and taking people back. What do you think that did to their mental health? Second, third order effect. Remember, we were taught that. We need more service members to do kind of what I'm doing. We need more service members to stand up and be counted. Speak your voice. Let your leadership evolve. It doesn't stop.
You see, this is the thing right now. Like, you know, and we're recording this, and I'm telling you, like, this is like, I got goosebumps. I got goosebumps right now by you just expressing that. Because how you express that with passion. You express that, you express that with passion because you lived it. You've experienced it. Yeah. You've endured it. You suffered it. You see what I'm saying? And now it's time for you, okay, you and your team to go in there and make changes.
And that's the goal. That's the goal.
That's it. You're digging for diamonds. You don't know what you're going to find, right? You might find a coal because of the process that she's been through in her life to where she's at now. Yeah. That would shape her to be where she's at now to enhance others like she did for 23 years of military service. Okay? This is Mark A back in effect, stay in effect, always will be in effect. D Brooklyn, Beyond Reverb. Thank you, Summer, for being on this show. Apex07, out.